Welcome to Mind the Major, where I say use your mind, don't lose your mind, don't get left behind, become a mind. We family over here. Come on over. Today I'm being joined by my actual number one supporter. And since I've been doing this whole YouTube thing, everybody wanted to know who I really am or whatever. But I guess today we'll get a glimpse of actually who I am through this interview with my actual number one supporter. So you can introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Victorine Raybell. This the young man to my right is my son Clifton Major, and is I'm gonna say he's our poet, our number one speaker, and I guess he also is my runabout. Anything that I need, I call Clifton. Ain't no problem.
Okay. And when I started the channel, I was focusing more so on Baltimore. That's why you'll see Baltimore in the title. The actual name of the channel is Mind of Major. And you take those, which has an acronym, MOM, and it stands for Mom. So there you have it, as far as the title of the channel or the name of the channel. When I set out doing the whole thing, I said I don't want to do nothing negative or whatever. I want to do something that I can maybe help somebody along the way through the channel. That's why I say pretty much to make Mom proud of me. You know what I mean? So, but she's going to speak today, or agreed to do an interview today where we're going to talk about Baltimore. Actually talk about Baltimore and actually try to put a spin on the negative image that is always associated with the city. So, along this interview, we're going to be going through like 5 different generations. 5 different generations. And then you can sort of like a timeline where you can see how Baltimore changed over the years. So, first out, can you tell the people where you were actually born?
Well, I don't know how many people know where Turner Station is, but it's a little small community down in below Dundalk, and it was a community where everybody knew everybody. It was a community where our children played with other children. We always knew where our children were because, and our neighbors was close enough to us where they could discipline our kids, and we didn't have a problem with it. It's not like it is today, but I mean, the parents went out and played jump rope with the children. They did hopscotch with the children. They played basketball with the children. We did everything that the children knew how to do. We did. So I mean, that's what we need to bring back to Baltimore City today, because right now we're in a big turmoil about how our children should be raised and some of the things we can't say to other people's children that we could say to children back in my day and back in my children's day.
Okay. And Turner Station, I like to add. Turner Station, the name Turner Station, derives from the actual Nat Turner, which was was the leader of a slave rebellion. You can Google that. You can Google that and get the rest of that, get the gist of that. So Turner Station was more so, would you say, black community?
Yes, basically.
So I remember being told that at one point there was an airport right there, not too far from turning
Yes, it
stations.
was. That was a place where my father used to take us on Sundays. We could see that plane take off. We would sit in his car and watch while the plane would take off. That was our happy place for that day. Like on every Sunday, that's where we would go to the airport. And we would have our little Slurpees or whatever, little candy to eat, little what we call barrels to eat, and sit back and watch the plane take off. I mean, things that we did back then, people don't even think about to do with their children now because things are so different. They don't have the communication that we had that we had with our parents then. Maybe if they did and they could get back that, things wouldn't be the way they are today. I know it wouldn't be, because it would be more so a settled community instead of an uprising thing where you don't know if your children, if they leave out the door, when they're going to come back. You don't know. So I'm saying if we could bring back that to the city, it would be a beautiful place to live. Right now, the way things are, it's like you walk out the door, you don't know if you're coming back or not. That's in the city. Back then, when I was raised, it wasn't like that. Children could be disciplined by your neighbor. The neighbors watch other people's children. And so that's something that, with as far as myself is concerned, it was something that was instilled in me by my mother and the people that we lived around. So as I grew as an adult and had my children, I try to instill those same values in my children that my mother put in myself and my other siblings.
Okay, so how many so I guess we could take from that you grew up in a two-parent household with
Yes, I did.
both parents. Okay, how many siblings do you have?
I had seven. My mother had seven children. I had four sisters. No, well, with myself, it made four, and three brothers.
Okay. And I just realized that you went on to have seven children of
Right.
your own.
And you
So
know they say the number seven is
number
completion.
seven,
So,
yeah.
right.
Okay, I get that. I hear that. So when you were coming up, far as, was there any crime like associated with turning station?
To my knowledge, no, there wasn't. I never, we looked at the news and stuff like, but you didn't see or hear of people shooting each other and all that. The stuff that's going on today, it's like, y'all need to take it back to Turner Station or places where there was a happy place. That's where we were. We were happy there. It's not, when we are now, this called Dodge City.
Uh-huh.
That's what we can rename this as Dodge City because that's what it's like. I mean, you could go to the corner and hear gunshots. You sit in your house, your car, whatever, you hear gunshots. We need, I'm going to say this because everybody was talking about Black Lives Matter. Y'all should let it matter. And by that I say, don't just let them be words, put action behind them. Let them matter. When your mother call you on the phone, she know where you are, and she know you're not toting around a gun. Because I'm going to tell you, me as a mother, if any one of my children that I knew of had a gun on them, they wouldn't, because I'm going to take it. And I'm 70-some years old.
She ain't lying.
No, I'm not. Because,
She's not
I've
lying.
had, guns ain't nothing to play with. It's not a toy. And any one of my children that grew up, that's not something we played with. I didn't buy stuff like that for my children. They had other things that they could play with. Other than the TV, it was safe stuff. But now children got all the guns and all the stuff like that, and it just gone completely crazy. So if I could just hit a button and take my children back to the way I was raised, I would gladly do and would get everything I have to get them back that way. Not just mine, but other people's children as well. Because it's not, we're a community right here. We're a community, but everybody's not putting in the work. The work is not being put in. And we can't keep turning our backs on what's going on because you see it every day. You see children dying, babies dying. I mean, children don't have a chance to even get to the 5th and 6th grade because they're being killed. So How do we, as parents, and myself too, as a parent, solve this problem? Because it's just going on every day. That's all you see on the news, and it make you don't not even want to look at TV because it's always something going. There's always somebody's child getting killed, and I know from experience for myself that it could do something to your mind, your body, and your spirit. So we need to get back into the basics of what life really means and what it means to us as Black people. Not just, I'm going to say, when they say Black Lives Matter, it shouldn't just be Black lives. It should be any color because God made us in His image. He didn't say white people, Black people, Hispanic people. He didn't say all that. He said His image. And we are products from Him. So it's not just one color. It's a whole boundaries of colors. Just like I'm one shade of color next door to me are Mexicans. We speak. We don't have no hatred towards each other, but it just seems like they, other people, other races, I ain't gonna name none, but I'm just saying other races seem to think that, our color of our skin is threatening to them, but it's not. And if you get to know a lot of us, you'll see that we just as genuine as the next person, as the next white neighbor that you sit next to, or that you come out the door and greet. But it's just, you don't want us in your community because you think we're going to bring the community down. That's crap. That is crap. Because I'm saying some of y'all, not going to mention whatever color or race or whatever, come in our communities and y'all have trash thrown all out the back and stuff like that. But if you come in and you don't see all of that, you don't see all that when you're coming in, but you can bring it in. You can bring a lot of hostility into the community too. So let's not say just Black lives matter. Every life matters. Whatever God put breath in matters. So let's take it at that part and stop saying Black lives. Put every life matters too, because it matters to God. He's the one that's in charge of everything that has breath. God is in charge of it. Not man, but God. I mean, we're supposed to walk like God would want us to walk, but we also have to use the mindset. And that's what we're losing. We're losing what God gave us up here to think with. So let's think on that, ponder on that.
Okay. All right. So we touched on your younger years, you growing up or whatever. So once you left Turner Station after having children or whatever, what part of Baltimore did you end up in first?
Oh, Lord Jesus. Let me tell you, after I left Turner Station, well, we still didn't Turner Station, but we moved to I'll say another block. But me as a adult, once I had my second child, I moved into first I moved into an apartment in Turner. And I stayed there for, I would say, maybe a year. But through some circumstances, I ended up moving in the city, which honestly, I didn't want to. And I cried. Adult, I cried because coming up, I didn't know anybody and I was moving away from my family, somebody that I was used to being around. So I'm moving up in the city with people that I don't know. And I guess you have to get to know people. But let me tell you this. When I moved up in the city, and this is no lie, I wouldn't lie about it. I one day was walking to the store. And people are so cruel in the thing they say. The words was coming out this young man's mouth. I'm gonna say young man mouth, saying, "She ugly, she Black." And my response, my response would have been maybe to cuss at him, but I didn't, because I had to come back that way. So I had calm enough to know if I cussed at you, you might be sitting in that corner and hit me or something. So, and I ain't had nobody with me but me. So, I mean, I went through a lot of stuff, with people's mouths and all that kind of stuff, and listen to the stuff they say about dark-skinned women. Why? I don't know. Maybe they prefer another color on the face. But I said to myself, it's just a color. You don't have to get to know a person. So me and myself going to back and forth to the store, that's what I did. I didn't take my children to the store with me. I did it because they had it where we could Go to the store and get our food, and it would be sent back in, like, like you ordered whatever you want from the store, and they would bring it to your door, which was good. I didn't have to lug bags on. So moving from the county to the city, honestly, I didn't like it. I didn't. I bet maybe because I didn't know anybody. Maybe that's what it. And where I was familiar. Where I was moving to wasn't. So
Okay, and what part of the city was that?
I was in the East Baltimore. Well, I've been in East Baltimore since I've been up in the city. Always East Baltimore. I never moved from East. I was from Patterson Park. We lived in a lot of different places in East Baltimore, but mostly in the same vicinity. It wasn't like it was like 2 or 3 miles away, but mostly right in the same area. So I mean, it's like, and it's all in who you I guess get associated with. I really didn't associate with a lot of people because I didn't get a chance to really know people like that. So I stayed to myself a lot.
Right.
Well, actually, really, until we moved to Patterson Park, and that was like, that was the 1100 block of Patterson Park. That's when I did know my neighbors. I put it like that. I did know my neighbors from next door, from each place that I moved. And so that was a blessing. So that was somebody to talk to and actually really wanted to conversate. And then you always spoke, no matter who it was. If you stand in the door, somebody walk past. My thing was, how you doing? Because it don't hurt to speak to people. I mean, you never know when you might need help. And that same person you didn't speak to might walk past you and something happened to you. And they just walk past and keep going because you didn't speak. But East Baltimore wasn't bad. And I think I'm still in East Baltimore, so that's my preference right now, I would say.
Okay. So